Welcome back. As we've already said tonight, this week the work from home issue has lit up talk radio, social media, and the water cooler after that controversial pronouncement by the new CEO of Yahoo, no more telecommuting. Melissa Meyer suggested that speed and quality, her words, can be sacrificed when workers are allowed to stay home. However, one Plano company has built a massive national workforce on that very premise, telecommuting. Tim Houlne is the CEO of Working Solutions, which offers outsourced call center solutions to Fortune 500 companies. That is, his company connects big companies with an enormous virtual workforce. So, Tim, welcome, and thanks for coming in tonight.
Thanks for having me. Good afternoon.
So tell us about this concept. It's not just isolated to one or two companies or even one or two industries, right?
Absolutely. In fact, telecommuting's been around for decades, right?
Yeah.
You've had people who work in the home, and now with technology enabling you to transfer voice and data into the home, you could be efficient in your position, your job, literally anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm. And more companies are tapping into this virtual workforce, right? And experimenting with it, or even more?
Yeah, we see the statistic we saw is over 70% of corporations today have some telecommuting. So they might allow certain aspects of their positions to work from home full time, but they might allow people to have a telecommuting day. I think a lot of companies today allow telecommuting days, one day a week or 2 days a month. And we actually find efficiency and productivity picks up when you have agents in the home.
How much so? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to ask, is the big issue, or the big question, I guess, that some people, like this CEO perhaps, have, accountability. That is, and Debbie's used the term micromanager, that could well be a part of it as well. But if you got somebody working at home, how do you know whether they're really working, and if they're not sewing a product with a sewing machine or something of that sort? And I guess there's some concern about that.
Yeah, and I think you say accountability, we actually look at it as control, right?
Yeah.
And that's not who you're hiring in the home, right? We go out and identify individuals with the right skill set, right, to support that work, and then you enable them to get results in the home. So it's more about empowerment. Identify, recruit, hire the right individual with the right skill set, and empower them to get results instead of this control where you're watching them like Big Brother. What are your metrics today? And I think that's the big difference with Marissa when she said, from one extreme, everybody must come back to an office or resign. I mean, that's a drastic change from where they are, especially the industry they're in the middle of Silicon Valley.
And especially with the statistics, with you saying, didn't you say there's more than 70% of a productivity level, there's an increase when they're at home working, that it really is pretty high versus being in the office as far as their productivity level?
We find a couple things. So depending on the job or the position, you'll see an increase in productivity. But we also find people working off hours easier, right? Because their office is, close to their family room. And they might go in and check that email at 8 o'clock or at 9 o'clock and throw some tasks over the fence to someone else. And I think, Marissa at Yahoo thought you had to have a teaming environment for the collaboration and communication to put out product, and we think the opposite. You have to be able to manage virtual teams today. In fact, if you look at it, you have teams all over the world. You have developers in India and the Philippines, and you have your teams all over the country. You have to be able to create that social aspect to that team, that virtual water cooler, to enable that team to be productive.
And there are still metrics that a CEO or a manager can put into place to make sure that those functions are being carried out and measurements are in place so that you can make sure the work's being done, even virtually, right?
Absolutely. In fact, you have so many today, but you wouldn't use all of them, but you have the ability to see how many emails have been sent, how many phone calls have been made, how many minutes on the phone you were working when you stepped away from your office, how many page views when you're on the website doing the research. So all the tools are there, and we're seeing now virtual service management platforms enabling you to serve up these transactions and interactions in a virtual environment and manage them the same way you'd manage within a facility.
And what are some of the compromises? Do you think coming into the office a certain number of times during the month may help, or a conference call, or
It doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Yeah.
We don't think it has to be all or nothing. Certainly, I go into an office and I run a virtual service management company,
Yeah.
but I like the office aspect of having a headquarters to go to, and I can work from home sometimes to get, some independent creative thinking done. But I think today you have to decide, what processes can be allowed to work in the home, and what do you need a teaming environment for? And if you do, can you create that teaming environment in a virtual environment, right? So you have social aspects, conference calls, video conferencing, team building, right? There's no reason you can't get together on a monthly basis, that team, and have some team building event or some type of a meeting.
Yeah,
So hire the right people, put metrics in place, and empower those people to get the job done. Is that it?
Absolutely. And I think even one step further from Marissa at Yahoo's perspective is, if she doesn't go along with this movement, it's going to be hard for them to compete for talent.
Yeah.
Because the industry's moving this way, right?
Sure.
So people want that flexibility. And if you give them that flexibility, they'll be loyal to you and they'll get the work done.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Tim Houlne, Working Solutions, thanks for coming in and explaining the virtual workforce.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Yes.
Well, you've heard from us, and we'd love to hear what you have to say on this topic or any of the others we've touched on. You can join our conversation by going to the Texas Daily Facebook page or by tweeting us at the Texas Daily. Or you can email us your comments, send them to ktxdtv.com. Or you can join our conversation virtually and probably find us on Skype, too.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Stay here.